Hey, good morning, kids. You ready to explore the Bible? I hope so. Good. Hey, we've got a good story for you today, and it's found in Genesis chapter 27. By the way, Melody, JJ, Arthur, we might be being joined by Marina, your cousin, so keep that in mind. I might not only be talking to the three of you now, might be talking to Marina. If I am, Marina, glad you could join us. Anyway, let's take a look at Genesis chapter 27. Interesting story. Now remember that Abraham had Isaac, and Isaac had Jacob and Esau, brothers. Remember, they were twins, but they were very different. See, there's identical twins, and then there's not identical twins, and these two were definitely not identical. Jacob was a small man. The Bible refers to him as smooth. In other words, he wasn't all hairy. Esau, on the other hand, was red and hairy and big, and he was an outdoorsman, and he, kind of a man's man, and his father loved him for that. However, Jacob spent a lot of time with his mother in the kitchen, fixing food, doing things like that, and for that, his mother loved him. This is a problem when parents start to love one kid more than the other. I mean, there may be things that they like about kids but in any case, it became a problem. Now, another thing you need to understand was that there was not only the birthright. Now, remember, Jacob had kind of deceived or bargained, or however you want to put it. Jacob had gotten the birthright away from Esau. The birthright was the right to be called the firstborn. Okay, it was the finances, because the firstborn would get the bulk of the finances when the parents died, and so it was a big deal back then. But there was not only the birthright, there was also a blessing to be given. Now, when a father would die, a godly father, he would bring his kids together and he would bless them. But for his firstborn, he would bless them even more, and he would give them a higher blessing. And Esau and Jacob both knew that, and they were looking forward to that blessing. The interesting thing is that, remember, God had promised that anyone that Abraham and Isaac, and there was that whole string there, that anyone that blessed Abraham and his seed would be blessed. Anyone that cursed Abraham and his seed would be cursed. And anyone that Abraham blessed would be blessed. And we have to believe that was passed on down to his son Isaac. And so it was very important that Jacob get this blessing as well as the birthright. And so this was something that he wanted. Well, the problem was that Isaac's eyesight was getting worse. Now, there's a thing that happens to older people called cataracts. Last time I went in to have my eyes checked, the eye doctor said, "Well, your cataracts are doing okay." And I was like, "Cataracts? I've got cataracts?" And well, apparently you get them, and as time goes by, they get worse. Nowadays, they've got a thing called laser surgery where they can fix them. But back then, when Isaac was getting old, he couldn't. And so he was almost completely blind. Couldn't see a thing. He was that old. And so he said, "I want to bless my sons before I have the opportunity. And Esau is my oldest son, and I want to bless him." And so he called for Esau, and he said, "I want you to go out and shoot a deer and then bring that deer back and prepare it for me." And notice he said in verse 3, "Now therefore I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver and thy bow, and go out into the field and take me some venison and make me savory meat such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, and that my soul may bless thee before I die." Okay? And so Esau said, "Oh, good idea." And so he got his stuff and he went out in the field to find some venison. Sometimes it's not easy to find a deer right away, and so it was probably going to take him a while, and he was okay with that. One thing he didn't realize was that Rachel was listening. Like I said, Rebecca was listening, and Rebecca heard that. And Rebecca called for Jacob and said, Jacob, your brother is out in the field and he's hunting for venison. And if he comes back and he cooks that and goes in and serves it to his father will bless him, but you need to get the blessing instead. And Jacob said, well, how can I do that? He's going to know it's me. Oh, but I know that you can change your voice. Well, it's not just that, He's going to feel and he's going to rub the back of my neck and he's going to realize that's not Esau, that's Jacob. And she said, don't worry about that. Just go and go out and get a lamb and bring it to me. And then I will fix it with savory herbs and spices, just like Esau does. And Isaac won't know the difference, and he will bless you instead. And so he said, well, I'm kind of scared about that. And well, Rebecca said, I'll tell you what, if he finds out and he curses you, then let that curse be upon me. And sounds real spiritual, doesn't it? But it wasn't so much. In any case, she said, go out, get that lamb, bring it in, we'll fix it up, and we will deceive my husband. We will deceive Isaac. Now let me ask you, is deceiving people a good way to get them to bless you? No. And it doesn't matter whether or not that blessing sticks, whether it's real. In this case, it would have been real. It's just not the best thing to do. It's wrong. And you can't do something good by doing something wrong. Okay? And I want you to remember that. People say, well, it doesn't matter as long as your goal is good and your intentions are good. If you do something wrong to get that. Here's the thing. You need to understand that the end never justifies the means. Okay? You might want to remember that too. The end never justifies the means. Never. Never. So doing wrong is always wrong. Doesn't matter if it gives you an opportunity to do right. Doing wrong is always wrong. The end never justifies the means. Doesn't matter why you do it or what your goal is. You always do right. I want you to remember that, because in this life, you're going to have lots of choices. And sometimes people want you to look past doing the wrong thing in order to be able to do right. No. Doing the wrong thing is always wrong. Doesn't matter how it turns out. Always do the right thing. The end never justifies the means. Anyway, love you kids. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Actually, 2 days. Bye.